luxurious Gold Coast, the #1 tourist destination in the country. But it will be no holiday for the new-look Newcastle Falcons tonight when they take on the Gold Coast Rollers in the opening round of the Mitsubishi Challenge.
So we can put all our ability together, we will definitely win.
But look out, Newcastle. The Rollers are hot and set to continue their blistering form.
The challenge is there, and we'll do well.
It's the Gold Coast Rollers up against the Newcastle Falcons in the opening round of the 1992 Mitsubishi Challenge. Good evening and welcome to the Carrara Sporting Complex. I'm Terry Kennedy. And what a sensational game to kick off the NBL exclusive on Channel 10 tonight. The Gold Coast Rollers, the Kmart Classic champions, against the new-look Newcastle Falcons. My co-commentator tonight is John Musgrove. John, it's a small stadium here, but plenty of atmosphere.
Well, Terry, this might be a small stadium, but it certainly ranks amongst the league's noisiest. And when you add the fact that this team has just had a great pre-season, they've made some cosmetic changes in here to give a bit more room, they're going to be exceptionally noisy tonight.
Let's check the starting lineups for both sides. Firstly, the Gold Coast Rollers, and Andre Lafleur is a guard along with Roger Smith, number 8. Number 4, Mike Mitchell, the centre. Number 11, Matthew Rees from the Adelaide 36ers. And number 7, Larry Stengstock are the 2 forwards. Number 24 on the bench, Andrew Goodwin, along with 22, Ronnie the Rat Radliff, 9, Doug Peacock, 33, Jim Bateman, and number 6, Brendan Lagasse.
This is a team that should be very familiar to all the fans here on the Gold Coast. It's a team that's got a lot of stability over last year, only a few minor changes. The biggest one of that probably the addition of Matthew Rees into the team. So I think stability and unity will play a big part, as they proved in the pre-season competition.
As we said, plenty of atmosphere here now. The Newcastle Falcons lineup, it's fairly formidable. 3 new faces in the starting 5. Number 10 is Al Green. Number 7, Everett Stevens, who had a sensational Kmart Classic. Number 5 at centre, Michael Johnson. Number 31, Terry Dozier. And Paul Kuiper is the other forward. On the bench, Grant Cougar, number 11. 4, Sean Dennis. 50, Neil Turner. 15, Chris Steele. And 22, Peter Harvey.
Yes, well, in comparison to the Gold Coast Rollers, this team has seen a lot of changes. The biggest, I think, being the addition of Everett Stevens and Terry Dozier in there. It's a team that after last year has a lot to prove. Their pre-season form, once again, showing that they're right on target for this season.
There's also a great clash between the 2 coaches here tonight. Tom Wiseman, the Newcastle Falcons coach, he coached the Gold Coast in 1990. His coaching record, wins 11, losses 21. And Dave Claxton, he's got a great record, wins 42, losses 30.
Well, the man that's really got a lot of pressure on him is Tom Wiseman. He's had a fairly poor coaching record up to this stage, but then a lot of people would probably say that's due to the fact that the teams haven't been the greatest teams. This year he's got a good lineup, and I think he's got a lot to prove.
Thanks, John Musgrove. The theme for this year in the NBL is Our Boys Are Hot, and I'm sure this match is going to sizzle, John.
Will sizzle. I mean, the pre-season form of both of these teams has been excellent. The coaches in the NBL have just gone and had a vote on who they think are going to end up in the top 8, and both these teams have been ranked in there amongst some lot higher favoured teams. So their pre-season form, though, an indicator of being a great clash.
There's, of course, the big player for the Gold Coast Rollers is Mike Mitchell. He's been in sensational form throughout the Kmart Classic. And, of course, last year he had a bumper season. He averaged 29.1 points for the Gold Coast Rollers, and he really was the leading light, John.
Well, he's the money man for the Gold Coast. When it comes down to the end of the game and you need somebody to suddenly get that clutch bucket, the man they'll go to is Mike Mitchell, and boy, has he got some moves inside. When he needs to open up, he knows all the avenues.
The Newcastle Falcons, as we said, 3 new faces in the starting 5. There's 6 new faces in their roster of 12, and one of the key players is Paul Kuiper there on your screen at the moment. Kuiper, a veteran now of 29 years of age. He's a forward, he's a big man, 119 games, and I'll just point out, in 119 games, he's only ever put up 1 3-point attempt.
Yeah, well, Paul Kuiper's travelled around the league quite a bit, and he's got a lot of experience behind him. At his best, he's one of the most dominant men inside a keyway. His problem, I think, is consistency over a period of time, but if you can find that this year for Newcastle, they're going to be a dangerous force inside.
Well, also, it's going to be a great game. Only 40 seconds remaining before tip-off. We'd love to welcome NRTV viewers straight from the Gold Coast all the way down to Gosford and all throughout New South Wales. I hope it's going to be a great match. I'm sure it is, John.
Well, I think for these two teams now, start of 1992 season, the slate is clean. They both had disappointing seasons in different ways last year. Newcastle being near the bottom of the ladder and the Gold Coast just being pipped on the playoffs. So this is a chance really to go and get the season off to a big start.
Newcastle Falcons finished wooden spooners last year, 14th on the ladder. One big bonus for them, there's only 13 teams in the comp this year.
Well, yeah, they can't go worse than last season, that's for sure, but I'll guarantee they won't be anywhere near 13 this season. Also, the Falcons found it very hard to win away from home last season. Only one win away from home. Well, home courts are really an advantage that people underestimate around the place. It is very, very important to go and be playing well at your home court, and everybody, of course, is G'd up to make sure that happens for you. It's hard to win on the road, but you do need to win about 50% of your games on the road to get into the playoffs.
Our referees tonight are Barry McLeod and Campbell Craddock, and they'll be in charge out there in the middle tonight. It should be a very quick start to this match because both these teams, as we said, were in form in the pre-season, the Kmart Classic, but now it's down to the real stuff.
And some boys out there that are proving that they're going to have a very big season this year. Last year the Rollers finished 8th, 14 wins, 12 losses, and at home they were 8 wins and 5 losses, and I think a couple of those losses at home were very, very minor ones. Could have easily been a lot bigger win margin for them at home.
Okay, we're only seconds away from tip-off. It is going to be Mike Mitchell up against Terry Dozier. And it's Dozier who got the tip-off. Now, Newcastle Falcons go into attack. This is Al Green, number 10, with the ball. He'll be looking to get it inside. There's Dozier, number 31. Inside to Kuiper. Will he turn and shoot? Yes, he does. And he makes the 2 points. The first score of the night goes to the Newcastle Falcons. Paul Kuiper.
We can be sure Kuiper's going to be fired up for this game against his home team, starting off the right way.
Mitchell thought about the three-point shot there for one moment. The Gold Coast Rollers, their trademark is just taking their time around the perimeter, working the ball. That was Reese. This is Lafleur. Lafleur. Now it's Mitchell. He thinks about the three-point shot, and it makes a three-point shot. Brings the crowd to their feet here at Carrara. Fast break now by Newcastle. Inside to Dozier, and Dozier responds with a two-pointer. Newcastle up by 4 points to 3 over the Gold Coast Rollers.
Both these teams very quick teams. The Gold Coast Rollers, particularly pre-season, ran an awful lot and got it in their victories, and we can see the turnover there. Newcastle on the break.
Al Green now, number 10 with the ball. To Dozier. Dozier tries a shot. It was long. Out of bounds by the Falcons.
So the pace of the game already starting at a blistering pace. Neither of these teams really wants to go and slow the game down at all, so you can be sure that there'll be a high score in it if this pace keeps on.
Everett Stevens matching up against Lafleur there. This is Sangstock. Roger Smith faked and shoots now. The shot was just long. Everett Stevens with the ball. He's been fouled.
So we played that one fairly smart. Stevens turning his back on Lafleur is coming across in defence. I think was probably a little bit lucky there because he picked the ball up and definitely travelled, but it was subsequent to the foul. So they'll get the ball from the sideline again.
Dozier will bring the ball into Stevens. Michael Johnson inside to Kuiper. Strong play from Kuiper. He's had a lightning start against his old teammates.
He certainly has. Watch down the other end here. Big matchup between Paul Kuiper and Matthew Rees. Matthew Rees, one of the hot players for the Rollers in the early season. A lot bigger opponent marking him in Kuiper, but they're having a good battle down low, and Rees will use this tactic, take him outside, try and use some speed against him quite a bit.
Mitchell now drives towards the basket, off the backboard. A nice basket by Mike Mitchell. Everett Stevens, he finds mean Al Green, number 10. Back to Stevens.
Got her ups on Everett Stevens. He's certainly a very quick customer. Runs the point very, very well. One of the guys that are really going to be in the running this year for MVP points in the league.
Stevens trying to work his way inside now. He faked once over Mitchell. A great block by Mitchell.
Just unlucky he got it on the way out. The ball will go back to the Falcons, but Mike Mitchell read that double fake, actually. Stevens went up, came back, went up again, and Mitchell was still there.
Dozier brings the ball into Al Green. Johnson, Michael Johnson, number 5, inside to Dozier. Everett Stevens, can he work his way through? He has a shot.
Roger Smith will get him from behind. The referee indicating then 8 green, which is Roger Smith, and that'll be a pushing foul. Got him in the back.
And the crowd not too happy about it.
Really, this battle, this inside is going to be quite an encompassing one tonight. You've got Dozier and Kuiper in the paint. That area a different colour from the rest of the court because it certainly is an area that's focused on quite a bit. Obviously the basket there. Kuiper and Dozier in against Reese and Senstock. A good battle as Stevens' first one goes through.
Everett Stevens, it's been a sad week for him. He had to fly home to America last Wednesday. His father died after a long illness. He only arrived back on Monday, but it hasn't put him off from the free throw line. He made both shots. It's the Newcastle Falcons up by 8 points. The Gold Coast Rollers 5. Roger Smith. The defense of the Newcastle Falcons working very well early on in this game. Matthew Reese, number 11, with the ball to Lafleur. Lafleur drives towards the basket and has drawn the foul.
It's a good drive from Andre Lafleur. Saw the gap there towards the basket. The defense on the inside was always going to have troubles trying to stop the shot, and Lafleur able to guard the ball very well. The foul really probably the better of the options there, because Lafleur, I think if he'd gone through, certainly would have scored that. Make it a bit tougher for him now. He's got to work hard for those points.
Andre Lafleur knew he was going to be in for a rough season this season with everybody looking out for him. He lost 5 and 6 pounds over the off-season to just be really wary of the opposition and just add that extra speed to his game.
You certainly know how well it's worked coming up against Everett Stevens straight away. A very, very fast customer, and the two of them, it's quite a sprint game out there. See the full court press being applied by the Gold Coast Rollers. They're pushing pressure up all the way along for the full court.
Johnson to Stevens. He's been busy early on in this game, looking for Green on the outside. He finds Green now.
The Rollers here are in a zone defense, a 2-1-2 zone defense. That's the pattern they line up, guarding an area rather than a man in a zone defense, and that time quite worked. 2 points picked by Al Green.
Al Green puts the Newcastle Falcons up by 10 points to 6. Lafleur went all the way but couldn't make the basket. Now it's Kuiper. Oh, and Kuiper flies high and makes the basket. It's 12 points to 6, the Newcastle Falcons, with a 6-point split over the Rollers. Lafleur.
The only difference in the game so far, the fact that the Rollers have missed a couple of shots inside. Andre Lafleur missing some free throws too, but there's a big move inside. Lafleur again just missing an easier, or none of them are easy, but an easier at baskets, and one you wouldn't expect him to miss too often.
Al Green doesn't miss though. He makes the 3 points. It's now 15 to the Gold Coast Rollers 6. Lafleur.
It'll be time for Dave Flax to have a talk about it, I think, and in fact he has called a timeout.
The timeout, and Newcastle up by 15 points to 6 early in this first quarter at the Carrara Sports Centre. Back to the Carrara Sports Complex with the Newcastle Falcons up by 15 points to 6. One of the trademarks of the Gold Coast Rollers throughout the Kmart Classic was their fast starts to all games. But of course they're on the back foot here, John.
It was a very quick start from the Newcastle Falcons as well, but it's only really been a couple of very easy buckets that have been missed by the Rollers that have made that problem come up for them. And I think they'll certainly have had a quick talk about that. Claxton's probably told them to go and settle down a little bit, just go and concentrate on the basket, don't let the pressure put them off.
Well, they may have been wooden spooners last year, but the Newcastle Falcons are showing they're a completely different side this year. This is Dozier.
Oh, there was a great pass. Great pass.
A great pass from Stevens there to Dozier. Found him easily. 17, Newcastle, the Gold Coast 6. They trail by 11 points.
Gold Coast are really going to have to just tighten up that transition. That's letting them down a little bit. The Falcons getting the rebounds and getting it down quickly. Gold Coast trying to put full court pressure on, but they're getting burnt down the other end of the court.
Gold Coast missing a lot of shots. Stevens for 3. It was a big air ball.
Missed everything. That's what you call an air ball.
An air ball, of course, is a ball that goes through the air without touching the basket, the backboard, or any play.
Anything.
Now Reese, number 11 for the Gold Coast. Ronnie Radcliffe is on court now for the Gold Coast Rollers. He's a three-point specialist and, of course, a veteran of the NBL. Mitchell. Oh, that's a sensational basket by Mike Mitchell.
A good spin move down low. He had the ball well protected, and that's the way to score him. You can't do much better than that.
A very needy 2 points by the Gold Coast Rollers. They trail Newcastle by 17 points to 8.
Kind of switching back here to a man-to-man defence. The zone didn't help them too much. Not that they got much chance to set it. Dozier misses. He's been in lightning form. Al Green tidies up and makes the 2. 19 points to 8 now. Tom Wiseman on the sideline. Yeah, felt Terry Dozier got some fouls. Was fouled a little bit in there, and asking the referee to just watch it.
Sangstock. Back to Radliff for 3 points. This will bring the house down. It does. Ronnie Radliff lands his first 3-pointer of the night. Dozier responds with a dunk at the other end.
Well, that's what you call transition basketball. Very quick comeback by the Falcons. They got scored on down one end by Radliff. Court's at just over 30 metres in length, and they got it down very quickly for Dozier to go in for the dunk.
A blocking charge is being called on Reese. He'll go to the free throw line.
Terry Dozier is really moving very quickly on that transition game, and that's what's really helping the Falcons. When you've got one of your big guys getting down there so quickly, it gives you the extras in numbers. Often the guards will be matched up against each other. It's that extra man out that will make the difference.
Matthew Rees, ex-Adelaide 36, has joined the Gold Coast this year after being cut by Adelaide. Couldn't get any court time down at Adelaide. He's got plenty up here at the Gold Coast, and he's made every poster winner so far.
I believe some people in Adelaide, the media, asking Don Shipway a few questions as to why he couldn't get time in Adelaide.
They can make some people look foolish, coaches. The players can make coaches look foolish sometimes. This is Lafleur. To Mitchell for 3 points. He sticks it home. The crowd come to their feet here at Carrara.
Well, basketball can be such a quick game, Terry. You can see a lead of about 20 points dwindled away very quickly, and we're looking at the points come down quickly at the moment as Terry Dozier just slides on one of the decals on the floor. It's okay, just a bit of water there.
But we just may add that a 3-point shot for those uninitiated, for those outside the yellow semicircle on the floor here at Carrara. Any shot out there that lands is a 3-point shot.
Yeah, that's correct, and there's plenty of good 3-point shooters out there in the game tonight. You'll see anyone like Everett Stevens, watching him in the warm-ups. He wasn't missing too many out there. Andre Lafleur, good hitter, but one of the classic favourites out here, definitely Ron the Rat Radliff. When he goes for those 3-pointers, he certainly gets the crowd very enthused.
Radliff made his debut in the NBL way back in 1983 for the Bullets. He's been down here since 1990. Had a few injuries last year, Ronnie Radliff, but he certainly had a great pre-season, as has most of the Rollers.
Still one of the best pure shooters in the game. When he gets hot, there's not much can stop him.
Trying to find Kuiper inside. Tough work by Matthew Rees.
And the benefit's gone his way too. He's called the foul on Kuiper, reaching over the back of Matthew Rees. Matthew Rees being the man in front, had position, and Kuiper trying to force the position a little bit there. He's been sprung.
Kuiper is shooting 100% at the moment, so it's been a lightning start to the game by Paul Kuiper. Lafleur now, he finds his partner in crime in Mike Mitchell inside the Sangstock. Rees, Lafleur now. Back to Sangstock. On the 13, Lafleur. They're just taking their time. Now Lafleur goes along the baseline and makes the basket. That's the Rollers 18. They trail the Falcons by 21.
Well, that's the difference. Andre Lafleur missed a couple of those buckets earlier on. Now he's starting to connect with those. Becomes a very dangerous man, matching up down here with Everett Stevens.
We're inside the final 5 minutes of this first quarter. 4 minutes 30 remaining as Dozier goes to the basket. He fouls it. Radliff grabs the rebound. Lafleur's away. This is Mitchell.
And the foul will be called down the other end, but the referees were being reminded by Tom Wiseman about a foul they thought that was against Dozier down the back end. Larry Senstock, though, looked like a clean block to me.
Dozier not happy with that call at all, arguing with the referee. But it does no good arguing.
Oh, well, Larry Senstock went straight up, and it looked from here, as we said, like all ball. There might have been some contact in the body. We didn't get to see that. But if it's all ball, that's a clean block, and that's what it's being credited as to Larry Senstock, one of the great defensive players in this league over the years.
Mitchell already has 10 points at the moment. He's the leading scorer so far, and it's the Gold Coast Rollers trailing the Newcastle Falcons by 21 points to 18. Here's Tom Wiseman. He's in the huddle. We might see if we can get a listen to Tom. Thomas trying to stress to hold on to this lead at this stage.
Well, he'll certainly be having to talk about their defence a little bit there. They've been burnt down low a couple of times by Andre Lafleur on the drive down low. And there's a few situations they might have to watch from this match. One of the interesting ones to watch is Michael Johnson there against Larry Senstock. Larry, one of the great centres and power forwards in his time. Michael Johnson more a shooting forward, and Larry with a bit more strength and height. Could be a danger man if they get Johnson and he inside.
Dave Claxton there now stressing he'll be a little bit happier now than he would have been after the early start by the Gold Coast Rollers, because they were a bit sluggish.
Well, I think they were just a bit nervous there, Terry. There's, as I said, a couple of those shots from Andre Lafleur just sort of ringed around and fell out. They seem to have found the basket, particularly from beyond the three-point range, and that certainly goes and cuts the lead back very quickly.
Newcastle Falcons, they're first out onto this court. They're keen to get on with this first quarter with 4 minutes 24 remaining on the clock. Number 11, Grant Kruger. He'll be coming on court now for the Newcastle Falcons, replacing Paul Kuiper, who had a lightning start to this game. So number 11, Grant Kruger, is the new player for the Newcastle Falcons as Mike Mitchell goes to the line. He already has 10 points in this game, shooting 100% from the field so far. Can he keep that perfect record intact? And just for how long?
Now, he's not too bad from the free throw line. I think you can pretty much count these three. Mind you, every time you say that, they'll go and make you look nice and silly by missing.
Mitchell now. He sticks the second one through as well.
Well, the Rollers sticking to this full court pressure. They've got 3-4 players up in the back court, and they're trying to put the pressure and look for the pass that goes astray. Probably a little too long or a little off target. They can intercept, and they're falling back into a zone defence.
It is now just a one-point ball game here at the Carrara Sporting Complex between the Rollers and the Falcons. Al Green, shot just a touch long. Sangstock grabs a strong defensive rebound. He finds Lafleur. Lafleur now slows the play down. Sangstock to Mitchell. They work the perimeter very well. Mitchell inside. Reese thought about the shot, Mitchell. Radliff now, he'll take his time. Nothing rushes Ronnie Radliff too much. Sangstock, Mitchell with the shot. Can't make the shot. Sangstock grabs the rebound. That pleases the crowd.
And they get another 30 seconds to work it around again. You get 30 seconds in between every shot that you take. Matthew Reese hit there after the shot. The refs didn't see that, and the ball goes out of bounds. The Rollers will get it back. The Rollers proving that they're a well-drilled team out there, taking their time, being patient with it. If the shot's not there, they're not forcing it, and they're quite happy to go and use the clock up and look for the clean, easy shot.
One of the veterans of the NBL now comes on the court for the Gold Coast Rollers, number 33, Jim Bateman. Matthew Reese has a spell on the bench after a lightning start to this game by both teams. It's the Falcons by 21, the Rollers 20. Lafleur makes a big three-point play, and the Rollers hit the lead in this match. I think that's for the very first time.
Yeah, see the difference the three-pointers make there. They've had 5 of them to the Gold Coast Rollers at this time. That's 15 points, and 3-pointers of the 23.
Everett Stevens works the baseline.
And puts his foot over the baseline. He's quick, but he's not that quick. The referees were right on the spot.
They do a great job, the referees, considering this game is so quick. Lafleur loves having that ball in his hands. He does a great job with it as well. As you can see now, makes the basket. The Rollers, it's now the Rollers 25, the Falcons 21. 2 minutes 43 remaining. John, how quickly things can change.
Yeah, it was an interesting substitution there too. Everett Stevens being given a bit of a rest. I don't know if he's tired, but at this point in time, and Al Green at the same time. So Coach Tom Wiseman trying some rather strange tactics here at this point in time. They're behind by 4 points, and they're going to put some bench players on to see if they make a bit of a dent.
Number 22 was Peter Harvey. Number 5, Michael Johnson. Tried to get the ball inside, but Dozier couldn't find him. I think Sangstock pushed the ball out of bounds there. Dozier brings it in.
Larry just having to talk there too.
Loves a chat, Larry. Good block from Mitchell. Dozier. Timmy Bateman now brings it away. This is Brendan Legassic on court, number 6 for the Gold Coast Rollers. Ronnie Radliff to Legassic. Legassic just working play now. Radliff to Bateman. Slight fumble there by Bateman. No way through there by Bateman. Sangstock, Legasic. A screen set by Sangstock. Inside to Sangstock now. Oh, the ball just rolls out. Dozier trips and knocks the ball into the hands of his playing partner, number 4, Sean Dennis.
Well, the Rollers are really certainly turning the defence up a little bit. I think that the Falcons have missed Kuiper inside, who was getting some good boards, and that was helping the transition with Dozier, Green and Stevens. But these guys on the bench at the moment, Dozier's still out there.
Tom Wisman showing great faith in his bench at this stage, because he seems a bit disheartened that they only trail by 4.
Yes, and I think questioning the referee too there, and fair enough, a couple of times down there, Terry Dozier's taken shots, and there seemed to have been a little bit of contact in there that the referees haven't called, and that's what he's trying to point out to him. Let's give the guys a go. Dozier himself has had a bit of a chat to the referees on the way back about it as well.
John, these coaches aren't too shy about letting their feelings be known to the referees either.
Well, I don't think you'd be a coach if you were shy. I don't know too many in this league, and there's some very, very active ones. You get guys like Bruce Palmer in North Melbourne. It's almost as much fun watching him as it is watching the game at times.
In fact, watching a replay of the semi-final, the Kmart Classic, Dave Clashton was knocked over by a referee on the sideline the other night. So that was something to behold. They come right on court.
Probably called for the charge too.
It's the Rollers lead by 25 against the Newcastle Falcons 21.
And Andrew Goodwin out for the Rollers, puts a fair bit of height in the middle for them. Jimmy Bateman as well, one of the great workhorses of the league with Mike Mitchell. So their front line looking pretty solid in there for the Rollers at this point.
Andrew Goodwin, one of the biggest men in the league at 211 centimetres. He's only 20 years old. Inside, number 4, Sean Dennis. He makes his first basket of the night. Legasic brings it away for Radliff. This is Goodwin, number 24. Mitchell works his way towards the basket. Oh, he takes out a Falcon. I think Mitchell is hurt, and he's grabbed his right knee. This would be a disaster for the Gold Coast Rollers.
Yes, well, he landed very badly then, and it's one of those shuddering things. Whenever you see a guy come down like that, the knees are just so susceptible to severe damage when you land badly. And you can see there Mike Mitchell going up, coming down. Thankfully, I think he got his hands down before his legs, so a lot of the pressure on the floor would have been taken on his hands.
In basketball, I imagine the major injuries are to the knees and the ankles, John.
Well, definitely the ankles get twisted and turned a lot, but the ones that are probably the most severe are knees, particularly ligament tears on the knees, because there's very little can be done about them. Surgery these days are giving you a lot more chance of getting back, but they can be very serious injuries, and many don't recover from that.
The youngsters who do the floor wiping, they do a great job. When a player falls over, they've got to run out and dry that court straight away, because automatically the court becomes very slippery.
Yeah, it is. Playing on wood is fine when you've got a nice firm surface there and played in sneakers, but as soon as you get a little bit of moisture on it, it becomes like an ice skating rink, and again, you can do serious injury. If you put your foot on that, you just lose all traction.
Okay, the Falcons trying to peg back this 4-point split at the moment. There's only 58 seconds remaining on the clock in this first quarter. The Rollers up by 27 to the Newcastle Falcons 23. This is Legasic to Goodwin, number 24. He works the perimeter with Bateman and Legasic again. Goodwin trying to get inside. Radliff with a three-pointer.
Short.
Couldn't be knocked in by Bateman. A fast break by the Newcastle Falcons.
Well, they get the foul, but I think Michael Johnson stopped that movement. It was Terry Dozier. Didn't realise Dozier was behind him. I'm sure the pass was going for Dozier, who looked as though he was almost lining up for a dunk then, but unfortunately Mike Johnson in the road got his hands to the ball first and was sort of patted around a little bit before the foul was called.
Number 22, Peter Harvey, goes to the line for the Newcastle Falcons. They've got a big future for him mapped out, the Newcastle Falcons. He's a lightning-fast point guard, but he can't make the first free throw. The Falcons trailing by 23 to 27. Harvey suffered a serious finger injury last year and only played 13 games. They expect more out of him this season. Legasic grabs the rebound. This is Mitchell. Looking, they want to get a score on the board. There's 28 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Legasic heavily marked by Harvey.
Out of bounds and hit out by Harvey, so the Rollers will get it back. They get a new 30-second clock. No, sorry, they don't get a new 30-second clock. The defensive play. So 17 seconds on the shot clock and 20 in the game. They'll look for one shot.
They'll just run this clock down, the Gold Coast Rollers, before they get a shot away. They'll be looking to go to Mitchell or Radliff here. Oh, Strong play by Mitchell, and he makes a basket as well. I imagine Terry Dozier wouldn't be too happy about that.
I think Terry's kind of thinking he's getting the rough end of the stick at the moment. He's not getting the fouls down his end, and he's trying for a couple of charges which have not been called down the other end.
Strong play by Mitchell. The Gold Coast up by 29 points. Newcastle Falcons 23. It's been a sensational first quarter. Lightning fast. Very even. It was the Falcons who shot away to an early break before the Gold Coast clawed their way back into this game. Dozier couldn't make the basket. It's the Gold Coast Rollers. They lead in the end of the first quarter by 29 points. The Falcons 23, John.
Yes, well, I think that the start was very much as the Gold Coast Rollers would have planned, apart from the slow start. Once they got their guns together and LaFleur started picking those little inside drives up, very hard to stop. And the three-point shooting, great start for him. That's around about 8 three-pointers in the game.
A sensational first quarter as the Gold Coast Rollers up by 29 points to the Newcastle Falcons 23. We'll be back with the second quarter for a sporting complex after the first quarter. It is the Gold Coast Rollers up by 29 points, the Newcastle Falcons 23. A slow start by the Gold Coast Rollers. Newcastle got away to an early lead early in that first quarter, but they've come back very well, the Rollers, John.
Yeah, they've certainly gone and turned the game around the second half. As I said 8 three-point attempts through the game. It is in fact only 6, but 4 of those have gone to the Gold Coast Rollers, and they've looked very good from beyond three-point range. Andre LaFleur's hit a couple of beauties, and then Mike Mitchell coming in and burying a real long three-pointer, and that's what makes them so dangerous. The team can play so wide, so the defense has got to come out on them, and that opens a lot of holes up inside.
Dozier against Mitchell now. Kuiper's back on the court. All the big guns are back out there now for the start of this second quarter. Number 5, Michael Johnson from Newcastle. He finds Al Green to Kuiper. He'll turn and spin and shoots. He makes it 2 points. Paul Kuiper's in great shooting form.
Paul Kuiper's in great form, period. At the moment, he's also hitting those boards very strong. You just have a look at him at the moment, the size of him. He's a very big guy. He's lost, what we say earlier on, 12 kilos in the off-season, something like about 2 pounds. I wonder where he's shed it. I think he's taken smaller boots. I'm not sure.
2 stone, actually, John. I know you meant 2 stone. I wasn't too sure about that, so I rang Newcastle and I said, you sure this bloke's lost 12 kilos? I said, yep, he's lost 2 stone in weight. He looks very fit, and it's obviously proved a big bonus to him. Everett Stevens with a great basket.
A great move from Everett Stevens. Spin around inside, still got the shot up cleanly and fell right through. This guy's quick.
If he lost 12 kilos, there wouldn't be anything left of him. Everett Stevens, very quick, and that was a sensational move by Everett Stevens. The ball wipe, floor wipe is on the court now, just tidying up. Sangstock will bring it in. It's the Rollers only. It's a 2-point game here. Our boys are hot, the theme of the Mitsubishi Challenge this year. It's been a hot game so far, and the boys are hot. Reese, Smith, the 3-point shot won't fall for him. This is Johnson. He looks to Al Green. Al Green drives towards a basket. Can't make it. Sangstock grabs the rebound.
Unlucky, just bouncing out, but that was great defense from Andre LaFleur. Saw the drive coming from Green, went across in front of him, managed to avoid contact with the body, which would have been a foul, and get his hand on the ball. Watch it again. Hand on the ball is probably a little unlucky, actually, watching on the replay again. Al Green did get a little bit of arm contact with LaFleur, and probably should have got the foul on that occasion. Tom
Wisman just can't believe it. He was screaming at the referees there about that foul. Still Kuiper now. Good strong play from Kuiper.
Time Mike Mitchell is going to get the foul, pushing with the body, and the referee's right on the spot then to see that.
All good things come to those who wait, they say.
Dead right. So you're talking about hot. It's starting to get a little hot inside. Tempers are starting to get a bit hot, that's for sure. I've noticed most of the big players having a bit of a chat with the referees about the pushing and shoving going inside as Kuiper buries the first one. And so keep an eye on that throughout the game, because there could be some fairly hefty exchanges in there.
He is a big man, Paul Kuiper. I think I'd back him in, actually, in any big fights that did break out. And this man, Terry Dozier. Reese tried to grab the rebound. Nothing going the way of the Newcastle Falcons at the moment. Dozier becoming a bit frustrated out there, number 31. This number 13, Andre LaFleur. looking to settle play down. Roger Smith, number 8, the Gold Coast Rollers. Reese, Lafleur. Lafleur with a three-point shot. It misses. Sangstock tidies up. He does that very well. That's Larry's first score of the night, his first two-pointer. Everett Stevens with a three-point shot. Smith grabs the rebound. Tried to find Mitchell inside. Stevens was in the way.
The last couple of times down the court, the Falcons really haven't set their offense. They've been going for the basket probably a little too quick, and they haven't been getting the boards players following in. Watch the replay once again, the hands coming off the Falcons. But they need to settle it down a little bit more in their offense, I think. Take their time like the Rollers are doing.
Lafleur, what a great assist into Larry Sangstock. He was fouled, Sangstock, and he will go to the charity stripe for the free throw line.
And Meanow Green getting some hands in there, but Larry Sangstock having a great season. There must have been a few people a little disappointed in the last season when it looked like he was going to go to past St Kilda, club he was started with, since called the Saints, but South Southern Saints. That team, of course, amalgamated, became the Melbourne Magic, and in the amalgamation, Larry was left free of his contract, and the Gold Coast Rollers happy to bring him back again.
Sangstock came back to the Gold Coast Rollers, and Coach Dave Clashton showed great faith in him. He's naming him captain of this side this season. Larry, he loves being captain. He loves being in charge out there tonight, and he does lead from the front. This is Everett Stevens for the Newcastle Falcons, number 7. Finds Mean Al Green. Back to Stevens now. Johnston. Stevens, Johnson now. Tries a long three-point shot. Reese jumps high and grabs the rebound. Smith brings it away. Lafleur will settle play for the Gold Coast. There's no pre-season. The pre-season's over. This is the Mitsubishi Challenge. The points will count. Mitchell with three-point shot. He lands it. You can tell by the roar of the crowd. They love him here at Carrara. Johnson drives inside. Fouled by Sangstock.
Mike Mitchell calling Paul the foul there, but he's going to turn around and suggest that he had his hands on the ball. As we watch it once again, you can see him coming across. He definitely got his hands on the ball. But once again, it was a little more contact up the side of the arm as well, and you're not allowed to get contact on that arm. If you can get all ball, that's clean.
Larry was also there, always there just to make it a little bit harder for him as well. Dozier will bring the ball in. Everett Stevens now, number 7. He's been impressive tonight. Inside to Dozier. Paul Kuiper. No score, the basket won't count.
Foul beyond Matthew Reese, I think, in there. Once again, just coming in with a little bit of body, and that's what the referees are seeing. Contact down the side of the body.
Ronnie Radcliffe comes to the sideline. He comes on. He replaces Mike Mitchell. That's the tall and the short. Radcliffe on. He'll match up against Johnson. And it's Johnson who has the ball, number 5. Inside to Al Green. Strong play by Green. Kuiper tried to knock it in, but couldn't. Radcliffe kicks it in, finds Reese. Good play by the Gold Coast Rollers. Smith to Lafleur with a three-point shot, and he makes it. Sensational play by the Rollers. They're up by 39 points to 28 now. They lead by 11. How times have changed.
Yes, they're certainly putting pressure on both ends of the court now. They're burying the basket, shooting a very high field goal percentage, but they're recovering very quickly on defense. And that's what's making it hard for the Falcons at the moment. They've held them down to 28 points, and that's a fairly good effort at this time of the game.
Brisbane comes to the side. He's shaking his head. Not happy with the way this game is being played or refereed.
Both coaches are actually going to cover an awful lot of mileage by the end of the game. They got around about, 12 metres that they're allowed to walk in up and down the sideline, and that 12 metres gets a rut in it by the end of the game.
And telling statistic tonight will be the field goal percentages of both teams. And as you can see, it does tell a story. The Rollers up by 54% over the Newcastle Falcons, 41.
Well, anytime you've got a game where a team is hitting above 50 and the other team's hitting around 40, it's real hard to go and try and get on top of those sort of statistics. You've got to be getting an awful lot of rebounds or doing something to try and conquer it, and that's obviously not happening out here at the moment. The result of 39-28 scoreline.
39-28, the Rollers up against the Falcons. Lafleur thought about the three-point shot. Reese makes it. Yes, he does. Kicks it along to 42, the Gold Coast Rollers. Newcastle 28.
That's the Gold Coast Rollers' 7th three-pointer of the game. The 42 points so far, 21 of them have come from the three-point line.
Johnson, the turnaround jump shot. Green grabs the rebound. Piper now has his chance. Green again. Strong play by Green to Dozier. Makes the basket.
And Roger Smith will get the foul there. He's coming over the top there. He went plenty high, that's for sure. No, Matthew Reese. Sorry, I thought they were going to get the foul from behind, but Roger Smith, but they've called it on Matthew Reese for the foul in front.
Number 4, Sean Dennis comes on for Johnson. Dennis made his Falcons debut back in 1987, a great defensive player. And that's certainly what the Falcons need out there at the moment. They've got to stop the Rollers from scoring, but then again, they've got to score their own baskets as well.
Most definitely. And Matthew Reese just given a spell out there at the moment. He's really been one of the finds for the Gold Coast Rollers. Adelaide, as we said, didn't get a lot of court time down here, but boy, as he started this season off with a whole lot of fire, playing excellent workhorse-type basketball. Gets inside, scraps around, gets the boards. He's got a good shot from where 20 feet and in.
Everett Stevens now turns around, makes the shot. Takes the Falcons to 32. They trail the Gold Coast by 10. It's a 10-point ball game. LeFleur looking to keep the momentum going for the Rollers. Finds Smith. Sangstock. Over to Radler for the three-point shot. The crowd love him down here. He just couldn't make that shot. Stevens brings it away on the fast break. Works his way in towards the basket. Tried to find Kuiper. Kuiper wasn't ready.
Terry, this is a team game, but you don't think a little bit of pride's on the line. You watch LeFleur at the moment coming up against Stevens. These two guys, they know that they've got big raps on them and that they want to be known as the premier point guard in the league. These two guys are working out against each other, and they really want to score.
It's been one of the great clashes tonight. Also, Kuiper, he's thriving against his old team.
Jimmy Bateman inside, going in against Kuiper. A little bump there. Not a big one.
Number 50 comes on the court now. The Newcastle Falcons, one of the tallest players in the league. He's only 21 years of age. Neil Turner, number 50, the Newcastle Falcons. He was chased by the Sydney Kings at the end of last season, but decided to stay with the Falcons. Bateman makes the first of his free throws.
The one thing Neil Turner's got to do is spend a lot of time in the weight room. You compare the bulk of him against Paul Kuiper, and that's one of the things that makes Kuiper so dangerous. He's just very strong inside. Neil Turner got the height. He can get muscled around by a shorter player than he with a bit more weight.
Bateman making both his free throws, takes the Rollers along to 44, the Falcons 32. Al Green back to Stevens now. Stevens looking to find people inside. Radliff, strong defense by Ronnie Radliff on number 4, Sean Dennis. Oh, very strong play inside by Mean Al Green on Roger Smith.
Double foul called there. You can see it being signalled now by the referee. The two fists waved over his head. Both Roger Smith and Al Green will be called. They were both deemed to have been having a bit of, what do you call that, a tete-a-tete, a bit of a conversation. The referee said that'll be enough.
I can tell you the referee's fists weren't the only fists being waved out there. Roger Smith and Al Green. Bumping chest. Very strong play. As you said, it is getting very heated inside under the basket at the moment. A lot of rivalry between these two teams because the two coaches, Tom Wisman did coach here in 1990. Also Kuiper, an ex-Gold Coast player. So there's plenty of personal points to be proved out there.
Yes, plenty of personal points being proved out there at the moment too. And these two having a go at it, but they'll
jump up.
him.
Smith wins the jump up over Green, brings it away to LeFleur. Radliff did. LeFleur, Radliff now. Smith inside. Nice work, Roger Smith. Oh, and he loves that, Roger Smith. And they come together again, Roger Smith and Mean Al Green. Plenty of words being spoken out there.
Well, that was good play from the Rollers. They looked for the open man. It just happened to be that Roger Smith was going through and Al Green bumped him a little bit and they started sledging each other a bit. I think the psychological battle in favour of the Rollers, so they scored.
Sensational game on our hands here to open the Mitsubishi Challenge of 1992. Welcome back to the Mitsubishi Challenge, the opening round between the Gold Coast Rollers leading the Newcastle Falcons by 46 points to 32. Roger Smith on the free throw line, he makes it and the crowd love it. There's a great battle going on between Al Green and Roger Smith at the moment. Green with the ball now and Smith right on his hammer. Number 4 is Sean Dennis for the Newcastle Falcons, yelling out instructions to his players. He finds Green. Smith still on him. Green works his way around Smith. Couldn't get past Radcliffe. Green works the baseline.
Larry Senstock will get that one without much doubt. He acknowledges that.
Number 50, Neil Turner, goes to the line for the Falcons. And they need these free throws. And the referee just having a couple of words to Al Green, just trying to settle him down because he's fired up.
Evan Stevens may be doing the right thing, suggesting he'll go in there in the empty spot and the key.
The problem is Al Green goes back to have a chat with Roger Smith, and the pair are still at it.
They're certainly talking about last night, that's for sure, because Al Green going 10 to the dozen at the moment.
Neil Turner on the free throw line. Can he make his second? Yes, he can. The Falcons 34, trail the Rollers 46. 6 minutes remaining in this second quarter. It's been an enthralling battle. Sangstock by himself fumbles the ball, recovers and makes the basket. The Rollers go to 49, the Falcons 34. Everett Stevens, number 7, with the ball now.
The Rollers' defense making a lot of this happen too. They're really putting pressure on. They've turned it up a couple of notches since the first quarter, and they're making it very hard for the Falcons to even get the ball around the court. At the moment, going one out, Dozier can do it. Got a lot of good moves in him, Terry Dozier, but apart from a couple of one-out situations, the Falcons really got to get a bit of team offense going for them.
Terry Dozier has probably been the bell. There he goes, sliding along the floor.
Well, that was a close call. The charge and block call are just so close, so hard to call, and it happened so quickly. That time, the referee deeming that Terry Dozier hadn't established position properly. We watch it once again. See, Dozier lands there and probably leans a little bit to the side as Bateman goes across on him. Contact wouldn't have been right down the centre of the body, and the referees have called it. But
he did look a bit unlucky there, doesn't he?
It's a close call, and there's so many of them during a game. Hard call for referees because it's one of those things that happens in a split second, and you've got to make a decision on the spot.
John, so many of these games are won and lost by 1 or 2 points, so all those close calls, they come back to haunt you at the end of the game.
Oh, they do. Referees really do get the pressure on them through a number of situations during games where you've got to make these immediate decisions.
Everett Stevens, he's being marked up there by Andre Lafleur. This is Turner now. Back to Everett Stevens. Sean Dennis tried the shot. Bateman grabbed the rebound. Lafleur brings it away on the fast break. Over to Radcliffe. Radcliffe, a crowd favourite here. Couldn't make the shot. He went inside unhindered. Now Dennis. He can't make it. Lafleur brings it away again. Behind the back, Andre Lafleur. Radcliffe with a three-point shot. The basket's not falling for either side here, just right at the moment.
Larry Senstock again being caught for a foul there.
Fouls on Senstock. We have 1-on-1.
Larry's had a few fouls called on him through his career in the NBL, but not too much trouble tonight. 2 fouls at the moment. One of the statistics looking real good for the Rollers at the moment, Terry. They've been shooting 53, 54% from the field, but the surprising statistic, up until that last shot from Ronnie Radcliffe, they were shooting 54% from the three-point line. Even at the moment, shooting 50% from beyond the three-point line. That's a great statistic. 7 three-pointers from 14 attempts.
Number 15, Chris Steele for the Newcastle Falcons. He's played 95 NBL games, and he is a great shooter from the free throw line. He shoots a career 79% from the free throw line, and that's 100% from the free throw line there. He makes his 2 shots. It's the Falcons 38, the Rollers 49. An enthralling contest going on. Lafleur, Everett Stevens waiting for Lafleur. There's Smith. 5 minutes remaining in this second quarter, just before half-time. Goodwin inside, under the basket. Strong play by Andrew Goodwin.
And 2 of the tallest players in the league going at it then. Andrew Goodwin, about 2'11 centimetres, and Neil Turner around about 2'10. That's not short.
Sean Dennis to Everett Stevens. Neil Turner.
Well, that was a great move, spin-around move. I was going to compliment Turner on what a great move it was, but you've got to credit the defense too. Goodwin read it, came across and swatted that right out of there.
Frank Kruger now comes on for Neil Turner, and Kruger will bring the ball in, number 11. You can make as many substitutions as you like in a basketball game. Only 5 players from each side on the court at the one time. Stevens did well to keep that ball in play.
And good defence from Ronnie Radcliffe. Read the situation very quickly, got his hands to it, knocked it out of bounds.
It is Kruger who brings the ball in. Now Dennis looking to get his pass away, finds Stevens. Stevens, the referee has found a foul.
Well, Ronnie Radcliffe has picked it up, but he's looking rather quizzical, as if to say, who, me? Where did that one come from?
It's the Rollers up by 51 points to the Newcastle Falcons 38. Everett Stevens goes to the free throw line. He played 48 games in the NBA, Everett Stevens, so he's used to big match pressure. And now he's out to make his mark in the NBL. His hero, by the way, if you're interested, is Muhammad Ali.
Bit of a size difference between the two.
Normally it's Magic Johnson or Jordan, but for Everett Stevens, Muhammad Ali. Andre Lafleur, that's Stevens, number 7 on Lafleur, 13. Andrew Goodwin. Looking for big things, Coach Dave Claxton, from Andrew Goodwin this year.
And that's a charge foul's being called down there. Andrew Goodwin trying to barge his way in through the baseline. We watch it once again. You can see the position this time by Dozier. The thing that would have gone and pushed it in favour of Dozier's position was the elbow came out from Goodwin, and Goodwin pushed off with the elbow. As soon as that elbow comes up, referee's very keen to make sure that the contact isn't served, and it was then, Goodwin being caught for it.
Of course, Terry Dozier was the 1991 NBL Defensive Player of the Year. Very strong defender. Now Everett Stevens for a 3 points. Straight through, you could hear the swish of the basket.
They need a few of those. The Falcons, in comparison to the Rollers, only shooting 29% from the three-point line, 2 from 7.
The Gold Coast scoring has been slowed, though. They're on 51, the Falcons 43.
Once again, this time we're watching the replay there. You see Jimmy Bateman going in, and at the time the defence not establishing position and the block call.
The players, Newcastle players, not happy with a lot of calls out there. They trail 43 to the Gold Coast Rollers. Welcome back to the Carrara Sporting Complex, and what a battle we have on our hands here tonight. The Rollers 51 up against the Newcastle Falcons 43. It's got everything. There's been plenty of sensational baskets here, and also some great personal battles and plenty of tough stuff inside, John.
Yes, and the score starting to even up a little bit at this stage. 43-51, only an 8-point game. Jimmy Bateman will help stretch that out a little bit. But ever so quietly, the Falcons starting to put a little bit of pressure back on down the defensive end. They've taken a couple of charges down there. They're certainly muscling in on the boards a little bit now. And the game just ever slightly slowing down a little bit from the Rollers' point of view.
Okay, now the Newcastle Falcons with only 3 minutes 30 remaining before half-time, looking to bridge this gap. It's still anybody's ball game. Everett Stevens loses the ball over his right shoulder, and Jim Bateman goes sliding, obviously, on a wet spot straight into the Paradise Centre's corporate box.
It's a fairly sticky night here at the Roller Dome, and that's causing the guys, of course, to sweat quite a bit. And getting a lot of just that moisture on a couple of spots of sweat on the floor will be enough to go and get you to lose traction. And Bateman, unfortunately, losing it at the wrong point of time and meeting the box very quickly.
At 32 years of age, Jim doesn't need any of those hard knocks, especially when he puts them on himself.
Jim's been one of the great veterans of the NBL over the years, a real workhorse, and at some stage player for the Newcastle Falcons as well, so he knows what the team's like.
Bateman was going to retire at the end of last season, but it was Coach Dave Claxton who talked him out of it, and he's sure to become a valuable member of this Gold Coast Rollers side as they charge towards the Mitsubishi Challenge throughout this season.
I don't think either of these sides are disappointing their fans in the crowd or watching on television at all, because they're both putting in a big effort, and this Newcastle Falcons side really just not the same team at all from last year. Plenty of defence out there, which is a big change for them.
They've got 3 new starting players, the Newcastle Falcons, in their starting 5, 6 players in their squad of 12, as Lafleur works the baseline. Now he comes back out. Ronnie Radcliffe, number 22. Been a great player throughout the years in the NBL. Now Lafleur looking to make his way. Jim Bateman finds Smith inside. Newcastle now come away through Everett Stevens. They really must keep this scoreboard clicking over the Newcastle Falcons. They've found points hard to come by. Chris Steele thought about a shot. Paul Kuiper does and makes it. Now it's 45, the Falcons. They only trail the Gold Coast by 8 points. Bateman works his way inside. A nice, strong basket by Jim Bateman at 32 years of age. The veteran in fine touch tonight.
That was a great little move from Jim Bateman. Saw the gap there. It was just a little finger roll. See the two defensive styles. The zone being applied once again by the Rollers, marking a region rather than a man. Down at the other end now as they score through that. You'll see that the Newcastle Falcons applying man-to-man defense, marking a man rather than a region on the court.
Bateman, he's looked to go in himself again. Roger Smith with a three-point shot. It was a touch long. Strong play by Goodwin. Smith, Everett Stevens brings it away by himself. He finds Chris Steele. Kuiper now. Yes, no assistance needed by Paul Kuiper. Straight into the basket.
I think the Rollers just got to settle it down a little bit at the moment. They're starting to slip, going one out. They've been a team that really has worked on their discipline over the past season or two. When they settle it down as they are at the moment, work the ball around, you usually get a fairly good offensive opportunity.
Bateman, plenty of court time here tonight so far. Now it's brought away by number 4, Sean Dennis. Dennis, does he go all the way? Yes, he does. Coast to coast by Dennis. It's the Rollers 55, Newcastle Falcons 51.
A great comeback by the Falcons. They were drawn out by about 15, 16 points during that quarter. They've managed to fight it back to a 4-point ball game. And basketball, I tell you, leads can be stripped so easily. We were saying before, a 20-point lead can be turned around in a quarter without any problem at all.
Mitchell has been off the court for the Gold Coast Rollers. He's the game-high scorer at the moment with 19 points, followed by this man, Lafleur. Lafleur has 11 points at the moment. Paul Kuiper for the Falcons has 13. Lafleur looking to add to his tally of 11. Radler short his three-point shot. It's Kuiper who grabs a rebound. This is Stevens, number 7.
Stripped by Andre Lafleur. Good defense.
Stevens won't like that at all. Radliff now looks to slow the play down for the Rollers. Smith to Sangstock. 30 seconds remaining on the clock at the moment. Goodwin finds Lafleur lurking out wide with a three-point shot. Lafleur, he sticks it. Lafleur, that's moved the Rollers scoreboard along to 58. The Rollers, the Newcastle Falcons 51. Still a 7-point ball game in anyone's game as it comes up to the halfway mark.
The Falcons should now be just working it down for one shot. There's about 27 seconds on the shot clock and about 21 on the game clock, so they only need to take the one shot and deny any more scoring opportunities for the Rollers before the half.
Stevens, Michael Johnson, 10 seconds remaining now, 9 seconds. Stevens, where can he make the shot? No, he can't. The defensive rebound grabbed by Goodwin. Lafleur brings away. He'll get a shot away, but it's short. And what a first half we've had in this Mitsubishi Challenge game between the Gold Coast Rollers. They lead the Newcastle Falcons by 58 to 51. We'll be back. What an exciting contest we have on our hands, John Musgrove.
Well, they really looked as though the Rollers were going to start sneaking out in front on this, but the Falcons turned the defense up towards the end of the second quarter then, and they've come right back into it. Just 7 points at the moment, and that really, thanks to the three-pointer of Andre Lafleur's right at the end to give the Rollers that little bit of extra breathing space.
It has been a seesawing match. We saw the Newcastle Falcons make a lightning start to the opening quarter. They shot away to about a 12-point advantage. Then the Gold Coast Rollers came back and actually led at quarter time. And of course now it's anyone's game with the score at 58 the Rollers, 51 Newcastle.
Yeah, well, I think we were talking earlier in the game. You have a look at the field goal percentages. 51% out at the moment to the Gold Coast, 47 to the Rollers. To the Falcons earlier in the game we were talking, and it was high 50s to the Rollers and low 40s to the Falcons. So you can see how that little bit of shooting touch can make so much difference to the game.
All the big guns are now coming out for both teams. The starting fives are on the field, on the court, I should say. Both teams in this second half. The big guns, there's Mitchell, Sangstock, Reese, Lafleur, Dozier and Kuiper, Stevens, Green. They're all out there. It's a great contest, some great personal battles. We're underway. The second half, this enthralling contest between the Gold Coast and Newcastle. Roger Smith with the first shot of the second half. It was short. Green grabs it. He'll bring it down on the fast break. The Newcastle Falcons. Will he drive all the way? He finds Kuiper.
Paul Kuiper travelled, took that little extra step to try and get better position. Referees picked it up. Once you have your pivot foot established on the ground, 1 foot on the ground, must not move that. Paul Kuiper did. He was caught.
Kuiper pinched by the referee. Newcastle coach Tom Wisman not happy with refereeing at half-time, but I guess most coaches never are. LaFleur, Mitchell working the baseline and makes it stick.
And Terry Dozier turning around and saying, hey, at that position there was contact. There was probably contact right under the basket, though.
Stevens hit the court very heavily in the halfway line as Reese tries to make the basket. Stevens has gone over onto his ankle.
And now on the other end, Terry Dozier getting a bit upset about that call. He felt that he was at the disadvantage last time, trying to get over the top then of Matthew Reese. The referees have called it. Watch it once again. You see Matthew Reese going up, the ball coming back. Dozier having to stretch over Reese, and the referees considering that Reese had the better position and Dozier was really going outside of his. Just explain the call before that too, Terry. If you go and establish position underneath the basket, that cylinder that goes from the basket through to the floor, and you are hit in a foul situation under that basket, it's a neutral territory, it doesn't count. And that's probably what the referees thought last time down. Terry Dozier was standing in that neutral area, and therefore any contact, it's nullified, and there's no foul called.
It's the Gold Coast Rollers up by 60 points to the Newcastle Falcons 51. We welcome all our viewers throughout Queensland on QTV. It's a great battle here. The Rollers 60 to the Newcastle 51. It's been a seesawing battle as well.
Well, they're going to have a real chat about it at the moment. I think more than anything, the Falcons just need to go and settle themselves down until they've had a couple of calls go against them, and just getting a little bit narky in there, I think might be the word, but Tom Wisman's going to call them over, make sure they just refocus on the game. They've really clawed their way back into it at 51 points to 60. They don't need to do anything silly, and this is really just an establishing timeout, I think, to say, focus, guys, don't let it get away from us again.
And the referees are copping it from both sides here tonight. It was Wisman first, attacked, and then from the other end, Dave Claxton came at him when they came to the middle and had his piece to say. Claxton, hands on hip. He's not altogether happy with what's happening out there either. Now the referee speaks to Wisman. And Wisman, they pace the sideline of this court, wearing a hole in the floor.
Yes, well, there must have been something more to it than that. I was just trying to... But the referees have spoken to both Claxton and Wisman, and something's going on out there. We missed it altogether, but trying to figure out exactly what all the conversation is about amongst the coaches and the referee at the moment.
As we did say, Wisman did coach here in the Gold Coast in 1990. He was sacked by the club. Claxton has now been here for 2 seasons, and what a sensational season he had with the Rollers last year. They were second for most of the season before they lost their remaining 6 games to fall out of playoff contention. This is Mike Mitchell for 3 points. Let's get on with the basketball, Mike Mitchell says. And that's exactly what the Rollers have done. They go to 63 to the Falcons 51. And that takes Mike Mitchell to 22 points for the game so far. He's the leading scorer, and he's been the leading light for the Gold Coast. LaFleur will be looking to find Mitchell, his partner in crime out there. Reese inside, Matthew Reese under the basket, another 2 points. It's now 65 the Rollers to Newcastle 51. Al Green, back to Stevens, Everett Stevens, a new import for the Newcastle Falcons. Mitchell, Wisman wants a timeout. This is Sangstock. Drives along the baseline, can't make it. Reese couldn't grab the rebound. Al Green grabs it. Everett Stevens making the calls now. The Falcons can't let the Rollers get too far away. A big 3-point shot by number 5, Michael Johnson. That helps the scoreline. It's an 11-point game. The Rollers up by 11. Sangstock now tries to strike back and does with a 2-pointer. The skipper leading from the front early in this second half.
Tom Wisman must have thought things were rolling back his way again because he cancelled the timeout. The play's gone on.
Al Green. This is Dozier, number 31, he's had a strong game, and so is this man, Paul Kuiper, a former roller last year. Al Green, can he keep it in? No, he can't. And it looks like he got a push in the back from Mitchell. This home crowd won't like it. Neither will Coach Dave Claxton.
Yeah, the referee picking the foul up. We watch it again. You can see Al Green just not able to get that shot. And as he goes for the ball, Mike Mitchell tried to avoid Al Green, but there was contact there, and it did disadvantage Green. The referees had to call it.
Everett Stevens for 3 points. It was a high one. Dozier grabs a rebound, and he'll make the basket. No, he won't. Paul Kuiper, Roger Smith grabs a rebound over Kuiper. Mitchell calling for the ball from Lafleur. Sangstock. Automatically they look for Mike Mitchell. This is Lafleur.
They're taking control of the game. You can see the point guard out there in the basketball games, like the halfback. They're the guys that keep the offense moving.
Reese with a big air ball. This is Everett Stevens. He's quick. He's lightning fast.
And double dribble called. You cannot dribble the ball with both hands at the same time. You can dribble it with one or the other. You can change them, but not at the same time. And that, with a little slip, was what happened in there.
Nothing going away for the Newcastle Falcons. They trail the Rollers by 67-54. Wisman, a concerned coach on the sideline. Sangstock with the ball now to Lafleur, number 13, looking to go inside against Everett Stevens. Mike Mitchell, he tries a three-point shot. Don't they love him down here at Carrara? Mike Mitchell, that takes him up to 25 points, and the Rollers are up by 70-54. Just what Coach Dave Claxton would have been looking for a lightning start.
I don't know what sort of drills that Dave Claxton's been running the last couple of weeks, but I reckon he's been doing some three-point shooting practice, because they are absolutely hot from outside that yellow line, and with shooting form like that, it's going to be very hard for any team to keep pace with them.
Number 5, Michael Johnson, he responds with one of his own.
Well, Michael Johnson, one of the great three-point shooters in the history of the league, and that's a charge foul. Definitely had position then. There was no doubt that Peter Harvey saw that one coming, stood his ground, and that's a great example of how to take a charge.
As we mentioned in the first half, things are becoming very heated out there between many of these players. The benches are up on their feet screaming, the crowd's screaming. It's all happening. Johnson. Lafleur grabs the steal, brings it away on the fast break. Sangstock, great control by Larry Sangstock, makes the basket, takes the Rollers along to 72, the Falcons 57.
This is what Tom Wisman, I think, was hoping wouldn't happen. They've allowed the Rollers to once again establish that lead. They've been a little rusty down this offensive end. Like the Rollers in the first half, just can't get the ball to stick on this basket.
Dozier is a big, tall, strong man, works his way inside very well. Ronnie Radliff coming on for Mike Mitchell, a well-deserved rest. The Falcons did show they can come back, so this game, it's still anybody's game at the moment. Lafleur working hard. He finds Lafleur again, Radliff. Lafleur tries to get inside. Roger Smith. Radliff with a three-point shot. It was short. Sangstock tidies up. And nobody tidies up better than Larry Sangstock.
Is Larry Sangstock having a great year? It's an Olympic year, of course, and he really wants to get his 4th Olympics under his belt. And Larry is putting a real big effort in this year, and boy, he's looking strong.
Sangstock again, he's going for his 4th Olympics. He's Barcelona bound. He's also been to 4 World Championships, Sangstock. Roger Smith. Everett Stevens. Al Green comes away with a steal. Number 22, Peter Harvey. Over to Johnson. Dozier and Sangstock nearly come to blows.
Well, Larry Sangstock then was probably just the one caught out. It was quite legitimate play in there, and I think that it was an accidental bump, the first one, but obviously Terry Dozier didn't think so and returned it. You can see here as the ball comes down, good position by Dozier. Larry just trying to block it there. And just a little bump, you can't see it from a different angle. But
the replay did just stop there, but I think the left elbow was raised by Dozier there, late in that movement. Plenty of action between all players out there. That's Sangstock and Dozier up against each other, and we've seen Roger Smith and Al Green clash already in this game. No shortage of action. Dozier from the free throw line. He makes it. A nice free throw.
I'll find out.
It's the Rollers 74, Falcons 60. The second one sticks as well. So the Falcons, they're fighting back. 61, trail the Rollers by 74. Ronnie Radcliffe. Matthew Rees. Radcliffe just working the perimeter of the Gold Coast Rollers at the moment. This is Rees to Radcliffe inside. They were patient, but their patience wasn't rewarded.
One of the things I like about the Rollers' offense is there's so much motion in it. They've got everybody moving all the time. To play defense against that, you've got to have everybody communicating very well, and it's very hard to do it for any sustained period of time. You watch at the moment, although it's gone a little slow there, they go one out for Andre Lafleur.
Green to Johnson. Johnson's been impressive tonight. Over to Dozier. A big, strong man, a big leap. Couldn't make the shot. Kuiper now. They slow the play down, the Newcastle Falcons. Kuiper working the baseline. Strong play by Sangstock. He's asking about the travel.
Well, Larry came across and helped defense then on Paul Kuiper and did the right thing. It looked like he stood his ground, probably dropped his hands a little bit to pick up the foul then. That was still good help defense from Larry Sangstock. You've got to cover the gaps, and Larry did so.
Gold Coast Rollers up by 74 to the Newcastle Falcons 61. And it's Paul Kuiper going to the free throw line up against his old club. He's had a great game tonight. He's tried very hard, and he makes that basket stick. They're all vital points for Newcastle.
They're saying it's a seesawing game. It's 61-74. The Rollers seem to just get a little bit of a lead up, and then the Falcons really claw back. They just can't claw enough to get back on top again. But they're certainly staying within touch. It's only 11 points. That's nothing in a game of basketball.
Lafleur, Radcliffe, Mitchell, back to Lafleur. Lafleur, a patient player. Sangstock, we've seen him clash with Dozier tonight. Smith, we've seen him clash with Green. And it's number 22, Peter Harvey. On the fast break, he can't make the basket stick. Sangstock cleaned up by Dozier under the basket as well. Mitchell with a three-point shot. It was short. Dozier, our way, Al Green finds Johnson. Johnson will go, no he doesn't for the three. The pass goes astray to Green. Radcliffe. This game has been played at an electrifying pace. Sangstock drives to the basket, gets the foul. He'll go to the line for a three-point play.
It was a good settling play from Larry Sangstock then. The defense was waiting for the two guys out around three-point range to get the pass from Larry. He saw the gap down the middle and settled it down with a nice little drive, and he'll get the third shot from the free throw line.
Timeout has been called as the Gold Coast Rollers up by 76 to the Newcastle Falcons 63. Welcome back. It really is non-stop action at basketball arenas around the country in the Mitsubishi Challenge. As soon as the timeout is called, the dancing girls come on and the crowd love that. I don't mind it myself either. It's the Rollers up by 76 points to the Newcastle Falcons 63.
Well, one of the great things about basketball, it's indoor entertainment. You're not out in the weather, and it's certainly an entertainment package. The girls, the bands, the noise, the atmosphere, it's a great package.
I'm glad it is indoor, because at the moment he's absolutely teeming down outside here on the wonderful Gold Coast.
It only rains at night time, though.
This is Dozier, number 31, back to the basketball now. Everett Stevens, 5 minutes remaining in this third quarter. And a vital quarter it is too. Dozier inside. Can he get round Mitchell? Great work by Dozier. Fast break now by the Gold Coast Rollers. Radcliffe tried to find Mitchell inside. The pass was knocked down. Mitchell says it didn't come off me.
It's off one of the Falcons players. The Rollers will get it back. Their transition game is still very, very up-tempo. It's very hard to play defense, man. As soon as they get scored against or get possession, that ball is down the other end of the court very, very quickly.
Mitchell, Sangstock, fakes inside, drives towards the basket, can't make the shot.
Ron couldn't get the disc brakes working. Around the back of mean Al Green.
Ronnie Radcliffe, the foul called on him. That will be a one-on-one to the Newcastle Falcons now.
Just looking Looking at the 2-point guards, have had a great battle out there tonight. Andre Lafleur and Everett Stevens, two great players, and isn't there pride at stake, both of them matching up and going at it. But when you look through the league, so many great point guards. As Al Green hits his first one-on-one, he'll get the second one. Here goes guys like Ricky Grace and Butch Hayes, and there's some great competition out that point guard role in this NBL competition.
The Rollers did get away to a 20-point break in this third quarter. It is now back to a 10-point break. The Newcastle Falcons, the wooden spooners from last year, they won't be wooden spooners this year. They've got a very exciting team there at Newcastle. They're doing very well, and they're showing plenty of fight. Mitchell struggling under the basket. He's been fouled.
He had enough moves in there. He confused everybody, I think. A couple of fakes, jump around, pivot, do the whole bit. And the defense just got very, very tired, collapsed on top of him.
He never looked like getting a shot away. So, it's Mitchell now. Roger Smith will bring it in from the side. He'll be looking to get it to Mitchell. Or Lafleur. It's Mitchell with the ball now. Back to Smith. Lafleur, number 13. He's controlled this game well for the Gold Coast. Roger Smith. Sangstock. Out to Lafleur. Lafleur and Mitchell look very much alike. This is Al Green with a three-point attempt. He sticks it home too. He does, Al Green, and that's a handy three-point for the Falcons. It's now a 7-point ball game, and back come the Falcons.
Al Green, when he gets that scoreboard going, he can throw them up all right. He's scored some of the biggest totals in NBL history.
Sangstock left alone, no defense at all, and an easy 2 points. It's 79 the Rollers to 70 Newcastle. Trying very hard, Newcastle, not to let the Gold Coast Rollers get away on them. Important to make a good, impressive start to this Mitsubishi Challenge in 1992.
Well, they're right in there, only 9 points in it. Another three-pointer, and the way that both these teams hitting the three-pointers at the moment, every chance of that, and they're just 6 points behind. Kuiper from inside.
Kuiper and Sangstock came together under the basket, and the wind came out of Larry's lungs. This is Lafleur on the fast break. Will he leave it for Radliff? No, he won't. Now he finds Radliff. This is Smith.
Again, watch the motion in this Rollers offense. They've got most of the players moving all of the time. Defense having to constantly adjust. Much harder to set double teams, getting two players to cover one player with all that motion as well.
Nice pass from Lafleur to Sangstock. The basket won't go down. This is Kuiper. He's a big man. Ronnie the Rat trying to spoil his move. Dozy out back to Stevens. Everett Stevens. A lot rests with him and the Newcastle Falcons at the moment. Johnson. Hasn't he stolen the show tonight for the Falcons, Johnson?
Well, over the years, Michael Johnson really been one of the great Australian scorers in the competition. He certainly knows to shoot from, well, any range, really, a three-point and beyond. And he's had quite a role to have to play in past years. He's really had to support the scoring of the Newcastle Falcons when they've had a few other scorers. This year, there's a few more offensive threats out there, and Michael doesn't have to take quite so much of the scoring power on himself.
He's got a career average of 20.3 points per game. Johnson, that is a great average to keep up. Sangstock looking now. The Rollers, a very patient team. Lafleur, Stevens got his hand in there.
And Andre Lafleur got it bounced off his body too. He was the one to have last contact as he went out of bounds, and the Falcons to get the ball.
The bounce of the ball favouring the Newcastle Falcons on that move. It's only a 7-point ball game with 2 minutes 15 seconds remaining in this vital third quarter. A quarter that often decides these games. But the Newcastle Falcons have shown some great resolve to fight back. Johnson again. He can score. Yes, he can.
And Michael Johnson, a true pure shooter, and once they get the feel of that ball coming off the fingers real hot, then it's very hard to stop, and they can almost put a blindfold on and still hit it. Larry Sangstock, he sees the bucket.
Strong play by Mitchell. Tidies up after Sangstock. Makes the two. Good team play. Everett Stevens trying to set up play now for the Newcastle Falcons. Johnson trying to get himself free. This is Terry Dozier, number 31. Will he go the baseline? The foul will be called on Sangstock here.
Larry stepped in on him as he was going around, and the contact definitely there, quite solid as well. But the defense from the Rollers, they're not going to let the easy baskets come, and they're certainly pushing out as far as they can. Going to get a few fouls when you're doing that, but it's worth it to keep that pressure on.
90 seconds remaining in the clock. This could be a vital 90 seconds too. As we just watch that replay, Sangstock, there's no doubt about that foul call. Terry Dozier, as we said, the defensive player from last season. He's very handy with the ball as well, though, John.
Yes, he knows how to score, go to the bucket, that's for sure. Last year he had Bobby Locke and Shane Heal feeding him around, but also very potent from outside the key.
Played with the Charlotte Hornets in the NBA. No stranger to big-time Terry Dozier, known as just the T. Might be T for terror, I think. He's been terrorising a few Gold Coast Rollers out there tonight. Sangstock. The crowd now trying to get behind the Rollers. Things are a bit closer. Roger Smith gets it back out to a 7-point game with 1 minute 9 seconds remaining on the clock. Stevens all the way. Great play, Everett Stevens, in his first ever NBL game.
This is going to be some mighty matchups this season through the Mitsubishi NBL League as it comes into teams like Everett Stevens matched up against Ricky Grace. That's going to be one showdown. And will the height versus the speed of Butch Hayes and Everett Stevens when they play Adelaide? What's that going to be like? So some great games coming up as these really talented individuals get out and go head-to-head.
The point guard position really is the glamour position, isn't it?
It's a very specialist position, and it certainly is a great battle to watch when you get two of the greats together.
Roger Smith, number 8. Mike Mitchell, number 4. The Gold Coast leading scorer from last year. Andrew Goodwin now can't make the basket stick. Everett Stevens brings it away from the Newcastle Falcons. He has a 3-point shot and makes it go down. That narrows the gap, and he's now 83 the Rollers, 81 the Falcons. A 2-point ball game with 26 seconds remaining on the clock in the third quarter. Mitchell finds Ronnie Radler. LaFleur now.
Well, they run the clock down again. That's good generalship out there from LaFleur. Realised the time was very much in their favour. The clock goes, game clock and shot clock, pretty much even, so they'll go for one shot.
They're working the ball around the perimeter. Smith thought about it, drives towards the basket, offloads to Goodwin. Back to LaFleur, they've got a second. Can he make it? No. The Gold Coast Rollers ran out of time there. They were trying to run the clock down. And at three-quarter time, it's 83 the Rollers, the Falcons, a 2-point ball game. A good crowd in here at the Carrara Sporting Complex. The dancing girls just leaving the court now. They keep the crowd entertained throughout the breaks and the quarter-time breaks. And what a game we've got on our hands here. A 2-point ball game. The Gold Coast Rollers up by 83. The Newcastle Falcons 81. The opening of the Mitsubishi Challenge, and you could not wish for a better game.
Well, we said at the beginning it was going to be nice and tight. Both these teams had a really good pre-season competition. They finished in the semi-finals together, and the Rollers, of course, going on to win. But the Falcons have really started to claw their way back. They haven't been able to just get that last little hump challenged and beaten, which is to get the lead. But they're certainly going to be right in there at the moment, just 2 points in it, and it's going to be a real tight finish.
What you've got to be impressed with is the way Newcastle haven't thrown the game away. Every time they were down by 20 points there at one stage in that third quarter, and now they're back to a 2-point ball game. So they're going to be hard to keep out in this final quarter. Mitchell against Dozier. Mitchell wins the tip-off for the final quarter of this game. That's LaFleur. Matthew Reese thinks about the shot. Then he thinks again. Over the top now to LaFleur. Will he find his partner in crime? He does. Mitchell back to LaFleur. Drives towards the basket. A 3-point shot from Mitchell to start the final quarter. What a better way to start. That brings the house down here at Carrara. He's the hero.
We also mentioned early on that Mike Mitchell was the money man, the guy to go to in a clutch as Mike Johnson hits another one, just falls short off the ring.
Terry Dozier worked hard. He just kept trying there, fumbling that ball, then getting control and putting it away. So it's 86 the Rollers, 83 the Falcons. Sangstock now. Back to Radler. Inside to Reese. Back out to LaFleur. LaFleur with a 3-point shot. There's been three-pointers flailing away here.
Yeah, they certainly have. As we were saying earlier, though, Mitchell, the guy that hit both clutch buckets towards the end of the first half, and then they looked for him at the end of the third quarter. It didn't come off, but he's certainly got that three-pointer running. They'll be looking for him towards the end of this game to hit a few more of those.
Just at the moment, buckets not dropping there for Johnson. Dozier trying to tidy up. He's having a tough time under the basket. He makes it eventually. He must be exhausted. He's been very impressive for the Falcons.
Still a one-point game, 86-85. Now time to turn the defense up for the Falcons.
The Rollers looking to keep their lead. Lafleur knocks Dozier out of the way. He says, beg my pardon.
And once again, you see the referee then indicating that Dozier had set his defense underneath the basket. And that's a neutral zone. You cannot set a defense there. It's designed to allow the guy driving into the bucket to have a bit of safety so that there's not guys landing underneath him. But that way, once contact is made under that basket, it's not counted.
Dozier, he's got some big bumps tonight. I'm glad there's no splinters in this floor. This is Everett Stevens, brings it away. And will he go all the way? Yes, he does. Everett Stevens, the new guard for the Newcastle Falcons. 87 Falcons, 88 the Rollers. What a game. What a Mitsubishi challenge to open up this season. Larry Sangstock, the captain, he'll be looking to lead from the front. Matthew Reese inside the three-point line.
Only just,
yes. It's 90, the Gold Coast Rollers, 87, the Falcons. Everett Stevens looking to slow the play down. Johnson, he's been in good shooting form for the Falcons. Terry Dozier has two, and he makes another one.
Well, both these teams now going head-to-head, and neither one of them really wanting to give an inch. Dozier certainly keeping the Falcons into it at the moment. Mitchell doing a few good things, and guys like Matthew Reese, he's guy we've certainly said how well he played in the pre-season, but he has been a great acquisition to the Rollers.
At both ends of the court as well.
Both ends of the court, strong in defence.
Lafleur, this is Reese, the man John was just talking about. Inside to Lafleur. Sangstock fakes. Mitchell for 3 points. He sticks it home as well. Mitchell, sensational play. It's 94 the Gold Coast. Newcastle 89. They're looking to strike back. Johnson can do it for him, can he? No, he can't. 93 the Rollers, the Falcons 89.
The referee calling then that as Andre Lafleur was approaching the basket, Everett Stevens gave him a little bit of hand to try and pull him towards the baseline, and that lodged the ball free from Andre Lafleur, and he'll get some shots on that, a chance.
And wasn't this a popular call?
No. From the side.
It's 93 the Gold Coast Rollers, the Newcastle Falcons 89. 8 minutes 53 seconds remaining in this game. It is still anybody's game, this opening round. It could come back to haunt these teams at the end of the season. At playoff time, Tom Wiseman goes wild on the sideline after this call. The Falcons can't believe it, neither can Wiseman. And it's a tech foul being called against Wiseman.
Well, that was rather silly. I don't see what Tom Wiseman was standing right in front of that play. Everett Stevens definitely got contact on Mitchell, who was going towards the basket. He was disadvantaged, and certainly looked as plain as day from here, and we were right behind him, and then going and getting the tech foul. Watch it once again. You can see Stevens stepping in there and pushing Mitchell to the side. There's definitely contact. Ronnie Radcliffe has hit the first one. Now, what will happen with the tech foul is the Rollers get 2 shots from here, from the line, and then they also get possession back. So, because Tom Wiseman jumped up, he's really put his team at a disadvantage, a chance for them to grab a 4-point break on the Falcons.
It could prove very vital as we count down the final minutes of this game. 8 minutes 47 seconds remaining on the clock. The clock starts again now as Mitchell brings it into Radcliffe. Reese now, number 11 for the Gold Coast Rollers. He's been very impressive. Lafleur worked hard all night. Radcliffe under the basket. He got free. He says, thanks very much, Andre. Everett Stevens looking to strike back now for the Falcons. Johnson for a 3-point shot. He makes it. Not one clap in the crowd for that three-point shot by Johnson. You thought he would have missed it. It was a great shot, and we'll give him credit, Johnson. 92, the Falcons, 97, the Rollers.
Well, the fans certainly getting heated up about the game. Plenty of noise here, and they're supporting the Rollers all the way.
Dozier comes back to have another go at Mitchell. Sangstock now against Johnson.
Great move, Larry Sangstock.
Larry Sangstock heading towards his 4th Olympic Games in Barcelona, makes another clutch basket. 99 the Rollers, 92 the Falcons.
See what the Rollers, when they get a little bit of pressure on them, every time the Falcons have come back, they suddenly find that little bit extra. They have certainly had a couple of spurts through this game that have gone and established good leads. And once again, that buffer zone back out to 7 points, 7:54 on the clock. That's not comfortable, but it's certainly better than it was a couple of minutes ago.
Even though the Falcons haven't been able to grab the lead since that first quarter, they've narrowed their gap. The slenderest of margins, the Rollers just keep plugging away, trying to stretch their advantage. This is Everett Stevens. He wants to narrow the gap. LaFleur on the fast break. He'll go all the way. Can't make the basket. Matthew Reese, can he tidy up?
And he'll be fouled. Well, the Roller fans certainly like it. And Andre Lafleur, he put his head down. He was going all the way towards the basket. Michael Johnson with a good rejection. Matthew Reese is the one who will get the foul. Take your choice of 2 there, but I think the foul picked up for Sean Dennis.
From Wisman, he's looking for a timeout as well, trying to settle his team down. Reese makes the first of his free throws. Matthew Reese. Adelaide must be regretting the day they let him go. The second one was long. 7 minutes 30 remain on the clock now as the Gold Coast Rollers, they've hit the century mark, 100. They lead the Newcastle Falcons by 8. Still not a real comfortable lead. The Gold Coast Rollers working the perimeter now. This is Radliff. We haven't seen the three-point bombs from Radliff. He's been working the ball more tonight. We've seen him from this man, Mitchell. He loses it. Sangstock recovers. LaFleur for 3 points. Yes, he loves it. The crowd loves it. And the Rollers love it. And they go 103 to 92. An 11-point break with a timeout being called. There's LaFleur pumping the air. An 11-point break for the Gold Coast Rollers with 7 minutes remaining. We'll be back. Newcastle Falcons coach Tom Wisman trying to work his players up for this final charge. 7 minutes remaining. The Gold Coast Rollers 103, the Newcastle Falcons 92. Wisman, there's Claxton. He's doing the same. Every time the Falcons get close to the Gold Coast Rollers, Claxton's men charge away again.
Tell you what, you watch those shots of the coaches there without sound, and the hand movements. I wonder what the heck they're saying in there. Dave Claxton was describing a flower or something. You'd seen the way he was sort of gesticulating in there.
Okay, we're underway. 7 minutes remaining on the clock. Number 4 for the Newcastle Falcons, Shane Dennis. Working away, Sean Dennis rather. This is Dozier, number 31. Back to Dennis. Johnson, he loses the ball. Radliff, Mitchell. Oh, he finger rolls it in. I thought the crowd was going to see a big dunk from this man who won the NBL Dunk of the Year last year.
Well, Mitchell did it both ends then. He got the steal and also got the break and the 2 points down the other end. It's tight defense and good transition.
The Falcons now looking to go to Johnson at every opportunity. Dozier will make the 2 points though. 94 the Falcons, 105 the Rollers.
Double team almost comes off. Michael Johnson just missing the intercept then.
LaFleur. This is Matthew Reese, been a very solid player for the Gold Coast. LaFleur, he's been in control all night. Back to Sangstock. Oh, an easy 2 points to Larry. Isn't he in good touch?
Well, Larry's moved from the centre where he played for Australia many years ago in his first Olympics. That time he was one of the biggest players in the league. These days he's only one of the short fellas, and he's moved out very well to that shooting forward position. Everett
Stevens tries a three-point shot. It won't drop. Dozier grabs the rebound. Can he get around Reese? He does. Can't beat Sangstock. Piper grabs a strong rebound under the basket and puts it away.
Substitution Rollers.
Ron the Rat having a little spell at the moment. He certainly had a great game out there tonight. And this season, he had, I think, in his own standards, a disappointing season last year. Great shooter, wasn't quite in touch, but he's certainly come back this season.
Sangstock's finding himself in a lot of open space at the moment. This is Dozier against Smith. Stevens, that's Johnson. And he was fouled on the way up. So Johnson will go to the line to complete a three-point play.
And watch good court vision here as Michael Johnson gets the ball, concentrates on that basket, doesn't get intimidated by the defense, just goes up strong. He'll get the 2 and the foul.
A timeout call by Dave Claxton. His team, they're up by 107 to the Falcons 98, with 5 minutes 20 seconds remaining on this clock and plenty of time for the Falcons to come back if they're good enough.
Yeah, one of the players to watch in this last 5 minutes, Terry, is going to be Mike Mitchell. He's proved, as we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, that he's a clutch player. He certainly pulled them out in the, towards the end of the first quarter and the first half with some great baskets. And he's been hot from the three-point line. And I'd be tending to work the ball around and give Mitchell a few more opportunities from out there. If the defense does come out on him, he's just got such speed off the mark that he'll take him inside anyway.
He is the money man. They call him Money Mike Mitchell. That's Paul Kuiper. He started at a blistering pace against his old teammates. Dave Claxton wasn't altogether happy with Kuiper going, but he found a very worthy replacement in Matthew Reese as well.
I think Matthew Reese is, we've mentioned it many times anyway, probably getting sick of hearing, but certainly been one of the finds for the Gold Coast Rollers this year, and it's his consistency through the season that'll really pay off big. Something Paul Kuiper's got to work on for the Falcons this year is he's got to have big games every game, because they're certainly going to need him inside.
The Dancing Girls take a rest. It's time for the players to come back on court and fight out this final 5 minutes and 20 seconds. The game's still up for grabs, as well as the premiership points. It's 107 the Rollers, the Falcons 98. And it's Johnson, Michael Johnson, who'll come to the line, the Newcastle Falcons. He's an excellent shooter, and he's looking to complete a three-point play. Only one shot from the line. And I'll put the mocker on him. Johnson has missed that shot. Reese grabbed the rebound. This is Lafleur. A great pass from Lafleur. He found Roger Smith. All the big guns out there now, the Gold Coast Rollers and the Falcons, for this final 5 minutes of this game. 5 minutes remaining in the first Mitsubishi Challenge match. Lafleur for 3 points. He sticks it home. That's 110 to the Gold Coast. The Newcastle Falcons 98. And we've seen a heap of three-pointers drop tonight, John.
Yeah, the form, as we were saying earlier, Dave Claxton's been running some great three-point drills, and I think he'll keep them in a secret book so no other team finds out exactly what they are. But the Rollers tonight have been hot from that area.
Dozier makes the basket and also draws the foul. Coach Tom Wisman gives a nice hand clap to the referee.
We'll watch again. We're looking inside. Larry Senstock is the one who came across once again in help defense. He seemed to have established position, had his hands straight up in the air, and I think Larry a little disappointed at that. The referee's feeling he probably leaned forward a little bit on Terry Dozier, and that contact put him off the shot.
It's now a 10-point game. The Rollers up. You better make that a 9-point game. The Falcons trail by 9. They've got 4 minutes 30 seconds to try and knock over the Gold Coast Rollers. But it's the Rollers who want to start the 1992 season off on a winning note as Matthew Reese slips. The floor wipers come out just to mop up. Dozier waiting on the sideline. He's eager to get on with the play. 4 minutes 28 remaining, and it's a 9-point ball game.
Well, 9 points is just not enough in basketball to be feeling secure at any point in the game. There's been 9-point breaks being given away in the last minute of play. So with 4.5 minutes yet to go, a long, long way to go for the Falcons.
Johnson been in great shooting form tonight. Everett Stevens with a three-point shot. It won't drop. Al Greentide is up for 2. And it is now a 7-point game.
Once again, one of the veterans of the league, but Al Green's still got plenty of springs in those heels.
Sangstock, Roger Smith. They'll try and slow the game down to their own pace now, the Rollers. Try and take control if they can. Larry Sangstock set the screen there. Roger Smith with 3 points. It won't drop. Paul Kuiper, a good defensive rebound. Everett Stevens brings it away. Al Green wants the ball, but Johnson will take the shot. Misses the 3 points, maybe trying too hard now.
Yeah, probably the wrong time for that shot. He was the right man to take it, but there was no rebounders in case he missed it, which he did, and the Rollers had everybody under the ring.
Mitchell with a big air ball. Sangstock kept it in play. That is sensational play by the Gold Coast Rollers. They go up 112 to the Falcons 103. Larry's got a big smile all over his face, as big as the Sydney Heads.
Well, I think the Falcons went to sleep a little bit there. They thought the ball was going to go out of bounds, but Larry hustled in and got the ball back in. Matthew Reese doing the rest.
Larry showing all the enthusiasm of a rookie.
So you're going to have to watch the Rollers when they're with their tails up like they have at the moment. They just keep spreading that gap. Every time the Falcons come close, somebody puts in an effort for a couple of seconds and suddenly the gap's back out again.
The Gold Coast Rollers, they're hot. They won the Kmart Classic, the pre-season championship. They're now on the verge of getting away to a winning start in the Mitsubishi Challenge of 1992. The Rollers up by 112 to the Falcons 103. Terry Dozier inside.
Larry Sangstock will get that foul too. He moved his body forward, then pushing Dozier off the mark, and the referees picked that up.
Larry not happy with this call at all.
Watch it again, just see the end there, but Larry right in his back then, and that's Larry's 6th foul. You get 6 fouls to play this game. Once you've accumulated that, it's good night. And Larry Sangstock going to the bench, but really not to be disappointed. 3 minutes left in the game, but he's played an excellent game up to now. He's really in for a big season, dominating on the boards, and he's had a great offensive game as well. Having a bit to say there, I think.
Larry would have to be happy with his game tonight. Andrew Goodwin, number 24, has come on and will probably play out the rest of the game in Larry's place. Dozier trying to work towards the basket. He put that shot up and just hoped, I think. He's on the floor again, Dozier. He spends a fair bit of time there.
Well, I'll tell you, Tom Wisman, the coach of the Falcons, can't complain about Dozier's effort because he really has been their go-to man in scoring. He's a great defensive player, and when you see a guy like that hitting the floor to try and hustle as well, you know he's given everything.
Stevens on LaFleur. LaFleur gets past Stevens. Wisman up pacing the sideline. Piper, can he grab it? Keep it in bound? No, he ends up in the Paradise Centre box. Take some time out, Paul Kuiper.
Well, fans in any sport like to be close to the action, but you can't get much closer than that as Paul Kuiper goes and joins the Paradise Centre box. There's a lady there who's probably always wanted to have Paul Kuiper join her on her lap.
And she's very happy he lost 12 kilos over the off-season. Otherwise, she could have been in big, big trouble.
Well, you certainly can't get much closer to the action than you do here in basketball, right on the sidelines. It often comes right to you.
One of the big bonuses of basketball, indoor, close to the action, and it's fast and furious. It has been here tonight at the Carrara Sports Complex. The Rollers up 112 to 103 with 2 minutes 36 remaining. There's plenty of glamour also associated with basketball in 1992. And you can see it all on Channel 10 throughout the season. This is Mike Mitchell with number 4. Inside Goodwin. This is Roger Smith, a vital member of this Gold Coast side. Mitchell trying to work the baseline. Smith with a 3-point shot. Reese now.
And Matthew Reese, once again, Roger Smith not finding the distance on that 3-pointer, but Reese just scrapping around the board all night. There once again to go and pull down the rebound and get the 2 points.
It's an 11-point game, and with time clicking away, it's getting harder and harder for Newcastle to pull their way back into this game. But they've done it before, so don't write them off. There's 2 minutes 17 remaining.
Well, it's helped them a little bit, I think, to have Larry Sangstock off. Larry's been hanging in there and tying down one end on the boards. Andrew Goodwin, a little less experienced than Larry. If the pressure's on, a guy like Dozier travelling at him, might make the mistake to turn the game. So Falcons still got plenty of light there.
The basket drops for Matthew Reese. It's 115 to 103. A 12-point ball game with 2 minutes remaining on the clock. Can the Falcons come back? Roger Smith with the steal. The turnover, now the fast break. Smith, Reese, the Goodwin under the basket. Wisman. Coach Tom Wisman is happy with that call.
No, I think he was turning to the bench, and just as we watched Andrew Goodwin blocked in there by Dozier. Great block it was too, and they forced the ball out of the line. Tom Wisman had called a timeout. He wanted it cancelled, but couldn't quite get in quick enough before the bench had already called the time.
Wisman now working with his players with only 1 minute 57 left on the clock and a 12-point break. Can the Falcons come back?
Well, I think one thing he's got to ask them to do is just be a little bit more patient in their offense. A couple of times they've come down the court and looked for the shot a little too quickly. And as we mentioned with Michael Johnson, that's fine. They've got to get a good, quick shot off, but they must wait to get some rebounders back in there so that they can get second attempts. And, of course, for the Rollers at the other end, they're doing that. Matthew Reese and Larry Senstock, when he was in there, getting a lot of second attempts, cleaning up around the basket.
Dave Claxton, he's one of the most animated coaches. There's plenty in this NBL. But Clacker really does enjoy his job. He was under Brian Curl for a long while. He came down, made a big success for the Gold Coast Rollers last season. Second for much of the season before they fell away at the end of the season, losing their last 6 games. He wants to make an impression on this Mitsubishi Challenge this year because they won the pre-season, and he wants to show they can also do it in the regular season.
Definitely, and remember that the Rollers really have had a lot of pressure under them last year, a lot of financial difficulties. They really fought their way and just missed out on the playoffs this year. They've got a great backer in Robina. They've been able to get some support in here. They're starting to get their game really together, both on and off the court. And Dave Claxton knows it's now imperative to make sure that on-the-court action stays fast and furious, and they stay up near the front.
The Gold Coast Rollers, they may be without a major sponsor, one of the very few teams in the NBL without one, but they can sure play. With 1 minute 57 remaining on the clock, they're up by 12 points and about to register their first win of the NBL season. This is Everett Stevens. He's trying to stop that from happening. Johnson with a 3-point shot. It sticks. No score.
No, it's a charge foul. We've seen Michael Johnson went and pushed off with his arm. The referees are there. You cannot do that. Clear away for yourself. And that's what Michael Johnson did. It was before the shot went off, so it won't count.
Well, that really could have sparked a Falcons revival. Now they're really going to be pushing uphill to try and get a win. Goodwin under the basket loses it. Mitchell tried to clean up, but number 11, Grant Kruger, puts it out of bounds.
Andrew Goodwin probably pretty lucky not to get called on a travel in there too, as he was stuttering around trying to get control of the ball.
Mitchell brings it in with 1 minute 40 seconds remaining on the clock.
I think Terry Dozier is going to get caught for that one as he tried to go and deny the ball into Andrew Goodwin.
They really do have to get desperate now, the Falcons. They're going to have to go for everything. And it's going to make it very hard for them to narrow this gap, especially if Goodwin can make these shots from the free throw line. Andrew Goodwin, one of the up-and-comers of the NBL, can't make it stick. The Falcons, there's still a rough chance. This is Johnson, denied a three-pointer before. This is for 2. LaFleur grabs the rebound. Now Mitchell. No need to panic the Gold Coast Rollers. They lead by 12 points. LaFleur gets around Stevens and finds Andrew Goodwin, and the ball drops.
Well, Andrew Goodwin, a little over the head shot. That's very classy. That's cheeky. That's a good word for it.
Plenty of cheek. He's only young. Andrew Goodwin, 20 years of age. He's a big boy, though. He's 211 centimetres tall. He's had an extensive pre-season weight program. He's getting stronger. And he's got plenty of cheek.
He's close to that basket, realised the ring 10 foot off the ground, and Andrew Goodwin, when he jumps, can get right above it. So he's a big boy, all right.
The Gold Coast Rollers now, they're doing it very, very well with 1 minute 12 seconds remaining. The Falcons are desperate. Here is Andre LaFleur by himself. A nice easy layup for Andre LaFleur. Fast break by the Falcons. Everett Stevens drives all the way. Only inside the last minute now. 52 seconds remaining. LaFleur, can he find Mitchell? Mitchell back to Matthew Reese.
And Grant Kruger picking up the foul, then tried to cover Mitchell, but really wasn't even close. Just ended up hammering him in the end. One thing the Falcons, I felt, haven't done, Terry, is they've come back and they really have rushed their shooting. When you're behind, you've got to get the shots off quickly. You've certainly got to do all you can to go and open the offense up quickly. But I think Al Green and Michael Johnson have taken some shots that haven't really been the best choices, and that's not helped their cause much.
Tom Wisman, he's workable with the referees, but maybe he's just got to settle down and go back to the training court with his players. It's Been a very impressive start still by Newcastle to the season, considering they were wooden spooners last year. They've got to be happy with this effort, but they did have a chance to win, and they're blowing that now with a 15-point break to the Gold Coast Rollers.
And the Newcastle Falcons have a new stadium to play out of this year. You can guarantee they'll want to be keeping a fairly good winning record at home, and I think they'll be fairly hard to beat there.
Mitchell stretches that lead now to 16 points. It's 121. The Rollers up against the Falcons, 105. With 50 seconds remaining, Mike Mitchell comes off to thunderous applause here at Carrara. He's done very well tonight.
Well, I think that Dave Claxton pretty well knows they've got the game won, because he's taken his starters off now and he's given his bench players a bit of court time, give them a bit of experience out there. Clock runs down, 36 seconds to go.
Everett Stevens, he'll try for three. The shot was blocked.
I think Andrew Goodwin knew he got that one.
Andrew Goodwin walks away with his head down.
Well, they're just debating then whether, I thought Everett Stevens was shooting as well, but the referees have said no, he wasn't, so the ball will go from the sideline.
Comes in from the side. This is Grant Kruger, number 11, will try and bring in by the Newcastle Falcons. With 33 seconds left on the clock, there's not too much they can do. They have played well. They can take great heart from this effort here tonight, the Falcons. Who can they find? They look to Johnson. He's shot well tonight, but Goodwin picks off the intercept. He'll bring it away. Oh, big collision. Andrew Goodwin and Grant Kruger. This game's had it all. Some sensational three-point shooting, some big clashes between the big men, and some even bigger clashes between the little men on the court.
I think some of the rugby union coaches might have been watching them, because Goodwin went through 2 tackles before he finally hit Kruger, and they got away with those. But Andrew Goodwin proving that he's got plenty of weight behind him still.
That weight program is paying off for Andrew Goodwin, obviously. 121, the Gold Coast Rollers up against the Newcastle Falcons with 27 seconds remaining on the shot clock at the moment, or on the entire clock, on the game clock. Only 20 seconds remaining on the clock, which will start as soon as Goodwin gets his ball back into play by hitting the rim or making the basket. He makes the basket. Now the game clock starts. 26 seconds left on the clock. Dozier, he'll go for three. No, he won't. Everett Stevens now, the new import. What can he do? He makes a nice 2 points, but it's really all to no avail. The Gold Coast, they still want points on the board.
But you keep your eyes open on Everett Stevens this year in the league. This guy is very, very smooth. He's quick. He's got a great shot from, three-point range and in. If you come out too close on him, he's just off like lightning. He really is, and he's got a smooth set of moves under the basket. He's certainly going to be one to watch this season.
Brendan Legassic hasn't seen much court time tonight, but he will throughout the season, Legassic. He's an Australian under-20 squad member and only played 3 NBL games last year. Claxton giving him a run in the final seconds of this game. In fact, the final 13 seconds of this game. The Newcastle Falcons, as they try and narrow the gap. Dennis makes 2 points. It's the Falcons 110, the Rollers 125. This is Peacock. Can he add to that total? No, he can't. What a sensational win by the Gold Coast Rollers to open up their campaign in the Mitsubishi Challenge. The Gold Coast Rollers 125, the Newcastle Falcons 110, a full-time score in a game that had everything. Every basketball fan, and even non-basketball fans, would have to be happy with this game.
Well, the Rollers just soaking that all in at the moment. The first home game of the 1992 season. They had a great finish last year, just missing out on the playoffs. They want to go one step further this year, and there's no better way to start. This team really stable. It is well drilled. Dave Claxton has them playing some solid defense, and their three-point shooting tonight, absolutely unbelievable. This is a team that's got a lot going for it.
The Gold Coast Rollers winning the first game of the new season by 125 to the Falcons 110. Falcons in the opening round of the Mitsubishi Challenge. Let's check the game statistics, and John Musgrove, it was a very exciting game.
It certainly was, and as we said at the beginning of the game, this Gold Coast side has really had very few changes since last year, and that showed in their continuity out there. 125 to 110, 47% from the field for the Rollers, a little lower, surprisingly, than the Falcons. The rebounds, 28 to 31. Again, they were behind, and the turnovers, though, the big difference, 18 turnovers to the Falcons, only half as many to the Gold Coast Rollers, and that really was the story of the game, less mistakes.
And the top scorers again, Mike Mitchell, top scorer with 38 points for the Gold Coast Rollers. A big effort from him, and also Andre Lafleur was up there. Of course, another game was played in the Mitsubishi Challenge tonight down in Melbourne. It was the Melbourne Tigers up against the Canberra Cannons, and we have a result from down in Melbourne. It was the Melbourne Tigers getting home there by 112 points to Canberra 104, and that was without Andrew Gaze, John.
Yeah, well, that makes Melbourne look very, very dangerous, of course. Leonard Copeland having a big game down there. When Andrew Gaze comes back, they're going to be deadly from the front court, that's for sure.
It was the Rollers up against the Newcastle Falcons tonight, but what about tomorrow night, live on Channel 10 at 8:30? The Hobart Devils up against the Brisbane Bullets from the Boondall, and what a game, Brian Curl against Cal Bruton, John.
Well, certainly bring the crowd in any game between Cal Bruton and Brian Curl's worth going along and seeing. Hobart have big hopes for this year, and of course Brisbane do as well with an all-new changed team. So it's going to be the first chance that Brisbane fans are going to get to see Adrian Branch and people like that. It's going to be a great game.
That game live tomorrow night at 8:30 from Boondall, and of course David Fordham is over in Hong Kong for the Hong Kong Rugby Sevens. That's live tomorrow 10:40 after that great game from Boondall between the Bullets and Hobart Devils, and also back on Sunday live at 3 p.m. with the finals at 11:15. Well, I only hope that all the rest of the games in the Mitsubishi Challenge this year are as exciting as its opening one. From John Musgrove and myself,